Are you gonna tell me in New York City, Washington D.C., Chicago? No, man, with stuff built in the 1700s, 1800s that still have that character, that still have that look.
Certain buildings,
this is Miami Beach we're talking about, Art Deco.
No, you don't need. Man, don't get me started. I'm not on your side. Here we are. I'm David Maggard. This is Ralph Pena. We are here to talk some real estate with you this afternoon, and got a bunch of articles lined up. Haven't read through the news in a while, so I'm interested in getting into this.
Been a while, man. Been what, about 2 weeks since we've been on?
News stuff, and yeah, it's been like 2 weeks, something like that. Took a little hiatus. Got injured, moping around.
Dude, you're no longer 20, man.
Yeah. Go for it. All right, so I got a bunch of hearings listed here, and let's go through a couple. We have one that's titled "Where Have All the Sellers Gone?" Talks about residential housing and how the inventory is shrinking. Also have an article about Dakar buys 119 acres outside Miami-Dade County urban development boundary. It kind of piggybacks off of where did all the sellers gone because the inventory is going.
Of course.
So that means there's not building. So here's a developer buying outside the development line for probably, obviously in his mind, he's probably thinking, oh, I can get the boundary stretched and the zoning increased. Because out there, the zoning permits like one dwelling unit per 5 acres or something like that.
Yeah, and on top of that, he can also buy the land cheaper because it's outside of the boundary line, banking that eventually they're going to expand it.
If they do.
If they do. And they're trying to. And we know at some point they probably are because, as you all aware, there's not much land out here in South Florida.
Well, no, that's why they want to increase it. So, all right. So next article, South Florida industrial space remains scarce, expensive. We see a lot of the new industrial being built up north. Well, I say north, but northern East Florida, northern Southeast Florida.
No, yeah.
Technology and Innovation Roundup. This is Open Store. Open Store is a technology company that's tripling their office space in Miami headquarters. That's in Wynwood. So that's great for Wynwood. Check in on the 10-year. Check in on the mortgage rates. Also, Stephen Ross, who is the Miami Dolphins owner, also half partner for Related Group, who, as everybody knows, develops everything.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right? So he's buying the shuttered hotel in Miami Beach, the Duval. So,
interesting.
Yeah, very interesting because this was in the news a lot, and the historical board was fighting over trying to keep this hotel because Elvis played there. The Beatles played there. All these music acts had played there. And, I was having this conversation with my son and telling him, I think these historical board members who are voting to keep these buildings and not allow, this is a big-time developer, to go in there and demolish the old building and now bring in brand new, modern, technology-driven palace. He wants to put in a hotel with residential on top. He's going to make it beautiful, right? Mm-hmm. So in the past articles, it never mentioned that it was Stephen Ross who was the buyer. And so that's an interesting article.
For sure. It's a hot topic because one thing Miami lost over the years, character, man. There's no historical. I'm an old school guy. I especially after I left Miami, was in D.C. and saw what you can do. Get the best of both worlds, the modern technology, all the Class A stuff, everything you can think of, and still keep that facade of old school.
I don't know. I think you
can really make it cool.
I think there's an opposing argument now, especially for what happened in the building in North Miami Beach that killed so many.
So that's not facade. That's a whole nother gambit. That's completely different than what we're talking about here.
No, this is a dilapidated old building that that needs to be demoed, and only reasons because a couple musicians played there, they want to keep it.
No. That's not what I'm going with here. I'm going with here. You can still keep the facade, gut the inside, redo the whole frame, make it all nice. But from the exterior coming in, you can still keep that character, that old school vibe.
I don't see any caves around here.
A cave? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Cave? Come on, man.
That was the first dwelling.
Are you gonna tell me in New York City, Washington D.C., Chicago? No, man. With stuff built in the 1700s, 1800s that still have that character, that still have that look.
Certain buildings,
this is Miami Beach we're talking about. Art Deco.
No, you don't need. Man, don't get me started. I'm not on your side.
Well, you just want to demolish everything.
But it won't fall quickly. Great article. Explains everything that's going on. Also, tech jobs posting are booming in South Florida. But some worry a national slowdown is coming. That article highlights that Florida is number 3 for tech jobs now in the nation. Not for tech jobs, but for job openings. In the nation. Also, I just threw this in there because I'm working on the retail right now. It says Best Buy Home Goods anchored shopping center sells for $37 million. That's in Broward and Coral Springs. Also wanted to bring up the retail market in South Florida. I just want to go over some numbers to see what's going on with that. And then the last but not least article is about it came out in the Real Deal, I believe today. And it states South Florida's rapper resi, meaning residential market, is super dope fire. And this highlights.
I would hate to be a neighbor in that household, man, with all the parties.
What do you mean? This is everywhere.
Yeah.
How do I open this up? Let me see if I can open this up because this picture is freaking hilarious. There's the picture right there. If you can see, you got P Diddy, you got DJ Khaled,
people that already live here. But
no, these are all people that have multi-million-dollar mansions here.
Yeah. How many times did Star Island want to get rid of P Diddy because they couldn't stand the sound of his party because it was just blasting parties all night long, during the week. We can probably dig that article up in the future, but yeah. How's that gonna play out?
I don't know, man. That's pretty funny, I think. All right. So, what do you wanna dive into first?
Let's go where all the sellers have gone. I mean, I still don't even. I'm curious to see what this article's about because I'll be honest, I haven't even looked at it. Cause to me, I don't know, man. I still talk to people out there, and I don't know where have they gone? Because there's still a hot market.
Well, it's not. So this is the thing: it's not. There's no sellers. It's that there was already a lack of inventory.
Correct.
So now with interest rate, this is coming from our conversations, me and you. When we were talking about interest rates, and you were saying like, "Oh, I have all this built-up equity," so that's what people look at. They go, "Oh, I have a house. It appreciated 30%." But if I sell, right, I have my house right now with a 2.25 interest rate fixed for 30 years.
Right.
If I sell that to get that $200,000 of equity out to go level up to another house, well, now my interest rate's going to be 5.6. So do I want to, level up to a bigger house, but I'm also going to level up to a bigger payment?
Agree.
A longer time,
yeah,
so I
would
can
agree
refinance back down if it ever comes back down. So there's not less. So people are less to go out and just sell. So that's putting pressure on people,
right,
to put their house on. So a lot of people are just backing off, going like, it was easier 6 months ago to say, with your wife, hey, let's put our house on, look, the market's on fire, fuego, you know what I mean? So robust, everyone's buying, it's appreciating. Come on, let's go. And it was a lot easier to go and sell when you knew that you're going to get that, you could go right back into a low interest rate. Times have changed, environment's different, interest rates are up, and people are hesitating on doing that, and they're kind of want to, okay, I'll sit back and I'll take that lower payment, lower interest rate, fixed for 30 years. That's one bullet point. The other bullet point is that inventory is already super low. So if you have low it's not that the sellers are gone, and it's not a bad, like, that's just a headline, right?
Yeah,
because it's
a reaction. Like a lot of people, like you and I talked about
and
it.
it's affordability now too.
It's affordability. I'm going to use myself as an example.
Please
My
do.
interest rate is low, right? Why would I want to sell and go where and pay a higher interest rate? Well, I'm in a different situation. I'm no longer I'm not in that position where this is my first starter home. So if you're somebody who has a starter home, then you're obviously looking to move up and go to the next stage of your life, your career. Well, not career, your life, right? Well, if you haven't, I personally think that if you're in the lower tier, median household price point, maybe but slightly below it, and this is your starter home, you're still going to have, those sellers are still going to be around. What you may not see, and I would agree with you there, somebody like myself, I'm not in a starter home. I'm in my primary home. I don't see myself going anywhere. Christ, they may bury me in the backyard for all I care. I'm not going anywhere. But that's where you're going to find there's still some of that available. I think that's going to, no matter, regardless of interest rates, you're still going to have that because people are going to want to upgrade as they advance in their career.
Well, look, they said, like the article states that during the pandemic, people gravitated to houses, more space.
Of course.
Right? So that put pressure on
and you also have people coming from out of state.
Well, that's a good point because it says that, says there isn't a singular reason for the lack of listings in most markets when adjusted for population growth, which we always go over here in
Right.
Florida. The number of new homes built in the U.S. has consistently declined since 1980s. Demand that exploded during the pandemic was further exacerbated by rising rents, which created additional competition by luring some would-be tenants into the housing market. The hot rental sector has also attracted institutional investors who have spent billions during the pandemic buying up single-family homes in bulk and converting them to rentals.
Right.
So that money has flocked into that area as well.
I would agree. And what you're also going to find is people who are getting
Blackstone and
tired.
stuff.
Yeah, you're going to get people also getting tired of the 20% increase, 30% increase in their
For
rent.
what? For rents?
Yeah. So they're going to gravitate towards, I'm willing to pay a little bit more interest rate. Well, they're not willing to pay. It's there. That's not negotiable to find a home, whether it be, something within their, within, like I said, below the typical median market. But what's happening is it's like anything else. It's supply and demand, right? If you have 20 to 30% rent bumps, at some point somebody's going to look at it and say, if I'm paying $3,000 a month in rent, I should be able to afford a house, right? I think if you're paying $3,000 a month in rent, you can easily afford a $500,000 house.
$3,000, $500,000.
Yeah.
I think it's more.
You think it's more?
Yeah,
Well, the point I'm getting at is people get one.
I'm not sure, but
You might be right, but there's going to come a point where people are going to get tired of this rent escalation, which is going to drive them to finding a home.
But they might get tired. But just because they're getting tired of rent escalations, they might not be able to find a house. And
Yeah.
see, people. They were also talking about like FOMO, which was like people out there paying too much for a house, paying over for a house, because people would go into the market and say like, okay, I want a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, buy this area, buy this school, and then they lost their first one, and then okay, we'll find they lost the second one. Now by the time the third, fourth house,
Oh, I know people in the seventh.
but
yeah.
they're not. It's not even a house that they want, and
This-
now they're putting in more money that they care to pay. So they're just appreciating that just because they want. It's FOMO.
Yeah,
They're
eventually,
missing out on buying something. Like
yeah, it's a perfect storm right now if you think about it. You have rising interest rates, you have increase in rents, you have sellers backing out.
it says sky high home values might seem like an incentive to sell, but brokers say they're actually preventing homeowners from listing. Suddenly, the cost to move got a lot more expensive. it's making people say, hey, I think I'm going to stay here for a bit longer and see what happens.
Right.
Sobin said that the only 1.5 months worth of inventory remains in Chicago, and it's fallen to just 1 month's worth in suburbs, down from 1.2 a year ago. In the past, I represent more sellers. Now I'm definitely representing more buyers, she said, adding that businesses for many brokers has slowed recently.
I don't know. It's going to be interesting within that couple of years, maybe a year or two, to see what direction this goes, because at some point then it goes where it's going to be a shortage of inventory, but then you're not going to have the buyers as well. And then what happens? The market gets stagnant.
It's interesting. I mean, and that just leads right into the next, and that's why I thought that this whole, let's build
West.
I can't freaking this. Yeah, I mean, it's like, cause and effect, right?
Yep.
So, the inventory is low. Okay, so, oh no, this is the wrong one. This is the industrial one. Where did the other one go?
It might be below it. I got it right here. The car buys 119 acres outside of Miami. But here's the interesting part about this, though. You want me to take over on this one?
Yeah, man. Yeah. $22 million.
$22 million for agricultural property outside the Miami-Dade County urban development boundary. HL Mills Family LLC, managed by Kathy Mills in Miami, sold 119.2 acres at the northwest corner of Southwest 88th Street, Kendall, and 167th Avenue. Holy crap. That's where we used to pick strawberries and fields. That used to be like all like, as a kid, go ag land and stuff, man.
It still is.
It's still, well, even in 1998, I bought my first townhouse in the hammocks. That was off of 147th and Kendall.
Nobody knows where that is.
Right?
Except you.
Yeah. Well, think about it. Back then, that was all farmland west of that. And now we're talking about land. They paid $22 million. That last traded for $3.2 million in 1984. Well, in 1984, that was a farmer. That was not.
That's also 40 years ago.
Yeah, I agree.
And it says, so it's had a big gain in value.
Yeah, that just show a high number. That's 40 years ago. I agree with you. That's like, and then you're going to compare 1984 to 2022. In 1984, back then,
Can you imagine 1980 to 1940? That's 40 years.
That's 40 years.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah. And you think about it. This back in 1984 was a strawberry field of green beans, tomatoes. You weren't looking at the thought of even building a house out there outside of an outhouse. Wasn't even you
but I
couldn't
bet
even
it's
think about
still
it.
the same out there.
No, it's not, because from 1984, I can tell you, as a kid, I used to go out there with my grandparents to pick fruits and vegetables, right? Now, even from 1998 to now, you go out there now. Well, Chris lives out there. Your trainee.
Well, you know
okay.
where Chris gets
There's
his
single.
fruit and vegetables from.
Let's not go there. So, so now that area is all developed now. You got retail out there. You got Walmarts
Not
of the
past
world.
the boundary line.
No, not past the boundary line, but sure as how close. It's right at the basic. I mean, you're right there, right at the edge of the boundary line. There's significant development already existing there. Now, when you start venturing west, what I'm curious to see, which will probably lead into the next article you brought up about inflation. You talk about brand new construction.
Do you have that up? You have
No, I don't have it up. You're talking about material. Hold on a second. I don't have it up here. Let me look. I have to hump for it, man. I wasn't ready for it.
You brought it up.
Oh, I did bring it up because it was brought up in one of the bullet points. Here we go. Let me see. This it? Nah, this isn't it. Come on, man. Inflation. Here we go. Inflation may peak, but it won't fall quickly. Let's talk about this. You're going to develop west of the boundary lines. Permitting, that's going to take a little bit longer maybe because of staffing, whatever it takes. That's going to be your standard
Yeah, but
I'm
look,
talking about material.
for the last 8 years, I've been hearing about beyond the boundary line of zoning.
But that's going to get approved.
When?
I don't know when, but it's going to. Why?
Well, I guess this guy knows something. If he spent $22 million on
exactly my
119
point.
acres.
Exactly. And there's some lobbying going on. Bring some pastelito, some cafe to the building and zoning department. Get the commissioner to expand this. As well as I do.
I don't know.
It's going to happen.
Don't say I know as well as you
Listen,
do.
$22
I don't
million.
even know what you just said.
You're going to spend $22 million.
Smells good, though.
You're not going to have some pull or some say as far as when it gets expanded. All right. There's going to be some donation to somebody's campaign. We all know it's going to happen. It's
You keep saying we.
Listen,
Maybe your people.
listen,
but I don't.
listen. All you have to do go down history. How much has this line been extended over the years? All right. We don't have it in front of us, but we know for a fact that the line was not this far west when it was originally designed. So besides that, let's talk about inflation.
Let's talk about it. More than a year, consumers have seen inflationary pressures drive up the prices of goods and services, eroding their purchasing power.
Yep, construction.
There are hints in recent inflation reports that price growth has peaked, but 1 month of data is hardly a trend. The Bureau of Labor Statistics estimate for a headline consumer price index grew by just 0.3 in April compared to 1.2 the previous month, and the slowest pace since August 2021. However, the core CPI, which excludes food and energy, accelerated by 0.6 compared to 0.3 in March. Food and energy removed in the core CPI because these sectors have historically been more volatile, making them less reliable for policymakers. Energy prices, for example, oh my God, gas is ridiculous.
Yeah, gas is nuts.
And I thought like last week, Chris said that, yeah, gas prices went down.
They didn't go down.
20, 30 cents or something like that. And I went, gas right here on Coral Way is like $5. And I went and I think I just put $10 or $20 like 2 days ago. When I went home for lunch today, the fuel thing came on, and I'm like, I didn't go anywhere. I went to put my car in the shop, take my kid to his high school, and literally the fuel light came on this morning.
My damn lawnmower, $20. What are you talking about? $20?
Yeah, I mean, because it fills up with 65, I believe. But I figured that's the most expensive gas station. So I was like, oh, I'll just. Chris was following me to go take the car to the shop.
Yeah.
So I'm like, let me put gas in it.
For what gas station? $5.
Coral Way. Closest
Dude,
one to Brooklyn right here.
Price Gouging. Oh, the one there on the corner of.
The closest one to our house.
Dude, they're taking advantage of the tourists and the people who are stuck there on 95.
Dude. It's all households, residentials, bro. They're just taking advantage of us, locals. you got the taking advantage.
They see the big ballers in Brickell,
Jesus Christ. Pent-up demand for travel continues to induce higher prices for related categories. Prices for transportation services popped by 3.1 in April, largely driven by airline fares, which rose by 18.6%.
Yep.
Airfares so not only are rents going up, but airfares went up. Airfares are largely correlated to oil prices, but airline business models require fares to be honored for months in advance, so airlines must account for volatility in fuel costs. For example, the war in Europe drove prices of West Texas Intermediate crude oil from $90 a barrel to more than $120 a barrel just during the week of March this year. Housing cost also continues to rise. Rents ticked up another 0.6 in April, while homeowners equivalent of rent growth by 0.5 according to CPI measurements. Both indexes are lagged the figures reported in CoStar's data for apartment asking rents and home prices in the Chase-Shiller Home Price Index for well over a year. With more renters renewing their leases and more home buyers entering at these price points, rising housing costs are likely to remain a large component of elevated CPI for the extended period. With CPI growing by 4% or more year over year for 13 consecutive months, many consumers are becoming fearful that pricing pressures will remain strong for longer. Consumer expectations for what inflation will be in 12 months slid to 6.3 in April from 6.6 in March, according to Federal Reserve. So that means consumer expectations are declining, which isn't good.
But what this goes back to, we're talking about consumer. We're talking about cost of goods. We're talking about tying into inflation. Back to this boundary line. they're going to develop west.
Maybe.
Wait, how is this price, all this inflation, going to factor into their bottom line for a house, new construction? We're talking about cost of material, high oil prices to deliver the goods, right? Labor, right? All of this going to tie into, what are we looking at here? $500,000, $600,000 homes starting, even if that, if you're lucky, to live on 167th and Kendall. Just to have the
to live with. Yeah.
I mean, think about it.
Far, man.
They're going to probably
It's
do
the
what
West Coast.
Yes, they're probably going to do what they did off of 152nd Street, which Century did way out there, where they developed a brand new project of all townhomes. Because that's the only way you're going to make. That's the only way they're going to make it affordable, and to take advantage of all the land. So what they do is they develop townhouses, or they develop they're basically large townhouses. But at this point, where do you're going to have back in the old days? Well, back in the old days, back in my time. Well, I get it. Back then, brand new construction was usually the ceiling, right? But you were at least in a decent location. What I mean, I'm not diminishing the 167th and Kendall.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not. Well, let's be real. If you work in Brickell, you work in, I get it now with this whole working from home situation that we're in, that may help. But if you work in downtown Miami and you live in 167th and Kendall, we experience it here in the office. What time does Chris get in?
8 o'clock on the dot.
8 o'clock on the dot. Ask him what time he leaves home.
It doesn't matter, bro. It's irrelevant. You don't ask questions you don't want the answers to. Ask your wife where she was at 4 p.m. yesterday. No, you don't want to know. So don't ask her.
Well,
don't ask your kid.
she was at home because I was at home.
While his door was locked. You know what I mean? So this says price inflation and rising interest rates are converging to produce a difficult environment for housing market. Prospective home buyers are facing mortgage rates not seen in years, while home builders are dealing with slower buyer traffic, labor shortages, and rising cost of building materials. The National Association of Home Builders reported that builder sentiment cratered in May as housing market index fell for the fifth consecutive month. That won't help improve the lack of inventory available for home buyers, which has been a persistent cause of rising home prices during the pandemic. At some point, the market will normalize, but without pain for some market participants. So, and what people are saying, I mean, if you see how the stock market has just crashed in the last 7 days, 7 days, and how all the top companies, Amazon, Apple, they're not hitting their marks, and I've listened to a couple different podcasts and stuff where they talk about the actual company is doing more sales, but their revenue has diminished because the cost of goods has increased.
Right.
So they're hitting their sales numbers, but they're not hitting the marginal revenue growth that they're supposed to hit, that the analyst had predicted. So therefore, the stock goes down, and now you see the stock market crashing. So what happens when the stock market crashes? Well, if you're a CEO of one of these big companies, or you start laying people off. Right now, our unemployment rates are at all-time low. It's around 2-3%. Well, if they start laying people off, right, and unemployment starts increasing, well, now people can't afford everything else.
Of course. It's a domino effect.
The prices are already going up.
Yeah.
So we really have to start watching it's claims for unemployment, because that's going to start increasing. And if you already have sales decreasing for homes, right, single-family homes, and claims for unemployment rising, yeah, man, we got to. It's all these stock market is crashing, crypto market is
that's going to hit on the multifamily side when you're going to start seeing more of a collection loss.
Well,
but people can't afford the rent.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, is that I think that we've hit the peak for the rent increases. That was
Yeah.
pent up demand for the COVID,
I would agree.
which is a bifurcated kind of analogy because COVID, people wanted to have more space. They gravitated towards buying single-family houses. There was the rent moratorium. Landlords weren't allowed to increase the rents. They finally were allowed to increase the rents. Then they went crazy.
They went nuts.
20%, 26% across the nation, rent increases. People are to the floor at that. Miami-Dade is one of the most expensive places for cost to rent ratio, which rule of thumb is supposed to be like 30%. And I think in Miami they're paying like 50 or above that.
It's ridiculous.
So, yeah, we've got to really watch what's going on in this market. I think it's, I don't like, I was going to say I think it's interesting because I do. And I want to see how it plays out and how it's different this time and how the feds, if you listen to anything that the feds are saying, they're okay with it. They're okay with, they said that the economy is so strong. It's weird to hear someone say it's so strong when you see the stock market crashing and then, costs going up so fast.
Yeah.
In all areas. I mean, I just read the airlines went up 18%. And then I know that, just to get gutters, they told me that it was going to take 2.5 months.
Just to get furniture. We looked at couches, and it's going to take they told us if we would order the couch today.
Don't order one. Go buy one. Go find it. I found mine.
Yeah, what am I going to go find, man? At Big Lots? Come on, man. I'm still been looking around. And
no, we went to the Italian place here in
yeah, but
Midtown.
I'm not a baller like you, man. I can't just go to an Italian market and
for your couch.
We're talking about a sectional here out of Crate and Barrel. We're looking at about $5,000.
See, you buy that anywhere. That's a lot of money, dude. I didn't pay $5,000 for our couch.
Yeah, but how big is your couch compared to what I'm looking for?
Well, I don't know how big.
A sectional.
Yeah,
you're talking about 120 inches by, obviously we're talking inches here, but we're talking pretty big piece of furniture. If you look, you're probably looking at more smaller couches that are readily available right there at the Italian. And how much are they?
I think we paid around $3,000.
Exactly.
And it was
pretty sure. I'm pretty sure what I was looking at probably double the size than what you were looking at.
What I'm saying is that you can. I'll show you.
You can probably find it. You can. But I can tell you, I just went a week ago.
You gotta. Everyone goes to Crate and Barrel.
No, I get it, but we're talking about where everybody goes to
in Miami. That have inventory.
But I get all that. But you're talking about Crate and Barrel. You would think they would have the upper advantage over the small and pop organizations.
No, everyone goes there.
Well, but point I'm making though.
We went and sat on all couches.
I think they told me 9 to 10 months for furniture.
Yeah, depends on what you buy. We just furnished our whole house, dude.
A couch, yeah. Don't get me wrong. I bought a dining room table that I'm going to get in a month. So it's not across the board, but it's not like the old days where you can just place your order right there and within a week or two it's there in your front door. Those days are gone right now. And they like to blame COVID, the supply chain, and yada, yada, yada. Well, we're going 2 years now.
Yeah, but that's here. That's not New York and California is not going 2 years. They're going like 3 months.
Oh, yeah. A good point. Very good point.
There's other places that are the same. I mean, Texas and Florida are going on 2 years after COVID, but not the majority of people.
Well, it's kind of interesting because my niece just had a dance recital not too long ago. And I was surprised that everybody on the dance recital had a mask on. Me living in Florida and being how Florida is, I was like, why are they still wearing a mask? But that's another topic. But you're right. That goes back to Florida, Texas. They're all a little bit different than maybe what the rest of the nation's going through. But still, the fact that you still have to wait 6 months or more for a piece of furniture, for the one that you want. Because I'm willing to wait the 6 months if I have something there right now, temporary. I don't mind it. But the person who has no furniture is going to have to settle and maybe pay more going to other locations, or maybe pay less and go to a Rooms to Go. And even if you go to Rooms to Go, you walk in there, they'll tell you.
But those are all like the typical places that you don't go to those places.
Yeah.
All right, so U.S. tech sector has remained in hiring mode this year, according to the latest data from the IT Trade Association CompTIA. But even amid a red-hot job market, many in the tech industry are worried the good times may be coming to an end. Why do I talk about tech? Because tech, like a lot of different cities, Miami, South Florida, is aggressively trying to bring these businesses
big time
and employees down here. It says in South Florida, tech job postings are up 51% over 2021, with nearly 7,680 jobs added in total. South Florida had 22,735 job postings between January and April of this year, according to the data. And then if I scroll down, this surprised me. Miami's not in the top metros, but we are. It says which states have the most tech job openings. And of course, it's California, number 1, Texas, number 2, and Florida is number 3. And it says year to date tech job postings in Florida. Where did we go? Just lost it. Okay.
Now, Florida, not even, maybe.
I lost the thing. Among states, California is the top for tech job postings year to date with 215,000. Texas was the only other state with at least 100,000 tech jobs posting, 153. And Florida had almost 80,000. Virginia was right behind us. Illinois followed. That's 2 ones that I wouldn't have thought about. Maybe Virginia because a lot of people are moving to that area.
Yeah, Virginia's always been
Virginia,
tech. Always.
But Illinois? Oh, what's Illinois? Chicago?
Chicago, man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, so stoked to hear about Florida and being so high up on that category. And just to piggyback on that, that's where this comes in, where it talks about open store.
You're talking about the technology. I have it open right here. The technology and innovation roundup. Open store tripled office space at Miami headquarters. Open store leased an additional 26,000 square feet of office space at its Miami headquarters to accommodate dozens of new hires it aims to onboard by the end of the year. The company now occupied 40,000 square feet at the Gateway at Wynwood, a Class A office building in Wynwood Arts District. Did we appraise that one? The Gateway? I don't know why that rings a bell.
We
haven't, we used it as a comp.
Right. We haven't appraised Gateway, but we definitely use it as a comp.
Open Store was the building's first tenant after the City of Miami granted it temporary certificate of occupancy in December. Open Store buys small businesses that operate in Canadian e-commerce. Shopify, the startup co-founded by Founders Fund general partner Keith Rabois, Atomic founder Jack Abraham, and former AppNexus president Michael Rubinstein, has raised $105 million in venture capital for investors including General Catalyst and Koshla Ventures. Rubinstein, who served as president, previously told Business Journal that Open Store aims to have 100 employees in Miami office by the end of the year. The company is hiring for business, administration, and engineering roles, according to the website.
That's 100 new people, let's say.
In Wynwood.
Okay, employees. So they're probably, most of them are going to be, let's say half of them are married. So let's say 150 new people right there coming who are either going to rent
or buy.
Look for new places to buy.
Yep.
So that's what's so exciting about, what they're doing and listen, that's gonna also blow up all that. That's the driver in all this new development that we're seeing west of 95 as well. What are you talking about? That's Wynwood.
Yeah, this is Wynwood, but west of 95 is probably more affordable on a Class A product than Wynwood. You can live there, still commute to Wynwood, and still have a decent, shorter commute. Besides the medical. We're talking about the medical district.
I don't know. I don't know.
Because Edgewater priced out. You can't go to Edgewater.
It would be interesting actually go into their facility, their headquarters, and say, where do people live? You know, like, where are you living? Where are you traveling to?
And what
the executives living?
Yeah, and what I find interesting is it says here, the Fort Lauderdale-based startup. Mm-hmm. Why are not they in Broward?
Because Wynwood is a cool, hip place.
But you think you see
Broward's missing it. Like, what Palm Beach is attracting, the fund managers and such for that, Wall Street of the South, and then Wynwood downtown area is attracting more tech savvy in the beach.
No doubt, but the way I view it is, if I'm a company, I'm based in Fort Lauderdale. I don't know where these guys are from, but I'm assuming if you're gonna be based in Fort Lauderdale, most likely you're from that area, because, like you said, people from up north do not go to Fort Lauderdale; they go to West Palm or Miami. This is just my observation. Is, why not Fort Lauderdale? Why not Broward?
Well, look. So this is another article from The Real Deal, and it goes: Brick and Timber Collective is piling up Wynwood properties, pays $9 million for a new office retail property. But what's interesting about this is it says the San Francisco-based developer and real estate asset manager bought a 3-story office and retail building in Wynwood, and the property was fully leased to a Bay Area tech company that will be increasing the square footage of the building, according to source familiar with the deal. So that's two tech companies there. That they were leasing the whole building. Mm-hmm. The seller, the affiliate of Miami-based Fortress Design Build, paid $1.8 million for the two properties in 2008. That was for land. This is cool too. Is that I thought this was designed by the dean of architecture at FIU. So I guess he has a company on the side. And so I was definitely thinking about reaching out to him to, it says designed by Florida International University Dean Architecture Jason Chandler. The building features ground floor retail office space on second floor and rooftop deck that can be built on. Pretty cool. That is $900 a square foot is what they paid for the building. Brick and Timber Collective is bullish on Wynwood, having acquired the Wynwood Annex Class A office building for $49 million in late February. Brick and Timber Collective is absolutely looking to buy more Wynwood properties. See, God, Wynwood. What a story of watching that land go from person to person, hot potato, and then finally people develop, and now the companies are coming in, and now you're seeing on top of that are these other asset management groups and stuff coming in to buy that final product.
That's crazy.
And that final product is tech companies from San Francisco or local startup companies that are buying tech e-commerce companies on the Canadian Stock Exchange. I mean, it's a great story, and I think Wynwood's a very cool submarket in neighborhood.
It's a very cool submarket, and what's interesting is it's so dense. It's really a small submarket.
I would live there.
Oh, I would too. I mean, it's very, very, very small. I mean, people have this out of towners. It's super small. It's only 4 blocks?
No, I mean,
right now
depends on what I mean. Yeah, it's from 20th to 29th. That's 9 blocks.
That's 9. No, wait. We're talking right now 20th to 29th. That's considered Wynwood. But if you look at where the heart of Wynwood, where the most action.
It's 20th to 29th.
Do you think 20th?
I know. Yeah.
I mean, 20th hasn't been developed yet.
Right, but that's the line.
Correct. I'm talking about what developed
Pena
now.
Owns all. I mean, it's piecemeal. So,
yeah.
But yeah, it's 20th to 29th, and then North Miami Ave to the
interstate. It's crazy. I mean, who the hell would have thought 10 years ago Wynwood?
Yeah, not 10 years ago. I think we worked on it like 9 years ago. But yeah. So that's cool. Wynwood, bringing in the tech. What else? Technology roundup, industrial space is expensive. So this is another thing. So, this is from Aaron. I thought it was interesting. Aaron Byers of Collier's Real Estate was interview talking about the industrial space in Miami and leasing industrial space in South Florida is only getting tougher. Brokers from Colliers International told the Business Journal. Aaron Byers, managing director of industrial services in Colliers' Miami office, said companies continue to scramble for warehouse space as they hoard goods to protect themselves from supply chain gaps. That's interesting, right?
Yeah, very interesting.
People don't think like that companies are buying more, hoarding it, and then they need more space
To store
because
it.
all we hear is that you can't get anything. So it's like kind of like a what? Like,
Yeah, but I think industrial, where are we at right now? E-commerce, right? So a product come in, you need to store it, and that's what she's alluding to. So at more and more the industry grows, you're going to see industrial is always going to be in demand. You need to store the products, right? I mean, everything going online. So the days of going to the brick and mortar store, you still have them, but they're slowly fading away, right? Well,
that's what she said. She says, as rents rise and space becomes more scarce, smaller local businesses may get harmed. There could be an economic event that happens that only certain companies can withstand. She said some smaller companies may not be able to withstand a 30% rent increase. 225 million square feet of industrial inventory in the first quarter. Miami-Dade County's vacancy rate was at a record low of 2.7. A year prior to the vacancy rate was 4.2.
Wow.
So it's in half chopped. Average asking rents for manufacturing spaces were up 61%, $10 a square foot. Flex space used as both office and warehouse were up 16%, $26 a square foot. Warehouse and distribution building leases for an average of $11 a square foot, an increase of 13. Major increase.
Major. But you know what caught my attention is we're shopping for outdoor furniture, right? Back in the old days.
It's always back to you, man.
Hey, man. Back in the old days, you would go.
Why do you keep saying back in the old days?
Well, when I say old days, how things were before.
At the end of the day.
Dude, you're older than I am, man. So don't start with that.
You always have like these
right.
funny sayings.
But what I'm getting back in the old days. Okay, let's be real.
Oh,
you used to go to. Okay, there's another one. You right? You want to keep on going? Let's go. You used to go to a store. You go to the product. You look at the store. Right there, you place your order, and it's shipped out to you. Well, you went into a store, and they had a showroom, and had everything there, and they had a warehouse in a different location. What caught my attention now is recently we went for outdoor furniture shopping. Everything is in the industrial space. You walk into the warehouse, and that now the showroom. You go to the warehouse, they have the product there. You look what you want, pick it out, and they'll tell you it's going to be delivered in a week or two.
Where did you go?
In Doral, right off of 29th Street and 72nd Avenue. That's all warehouses. Mm-hmm. Okay. When I say back in the old days, you would go to a store, a physical store, a retail strip center, and say, "Come walk in." They will show you around, show you the product.
But what do you mean by back in the old days?
Well, I mean back in the old days.
When were you buying outdoor furniture?
I'm 47 years old. Dude.
I've never bought outdoor furniture.
Well, I mean,
I'm close to buying it.
You've been living the dream, living up here in Brickell in a high-end apartment like the George Jeffersons of the world.
When did you buy?
Dude, for me, when you have an outdoor, when you live in a condo.
Answer the question.
Wait, hear me out. When you have an apartment in Brickell, you're going, I ain't going to buy outdoor furniture. Where am I going to put it?
But if you have a balcony.
Okay, you have a balcony. Okay. But when you have a yard, I've owned 3 or 4 homes in my lifetime. So I would have to go buy outdoor furniture for my homes. So, give you an example.
But how old were you?
We're talking 10 years ago. Maybe no, less than 10 years ago. 5 years ago. The last time I bought outdoor furniture. Right? Mm-hmm. I went to a store.
Like 48.
Yeah, 48. I went to the store, found the product, placed the order. The salesman would tell me, the warehouse has it. The warehouse is going to ship it. Mm-hmm. Where's the warehouse? They will tell me XYZ location. Mm-hmm. Well, now what they've done is they've merged the two together, where you have the product already there. So you don't have this. They basically now you go into the industrial spaces to buy the product because they keep it all there. So it's a little bit different than what it just times, man. Everything's just changing, just adapting.
Well, tell that to the people in North Miami Beach, where Stephen Ross is Billionaire owner of the Miami Dolphins said he acquired the site shuttered Duval Beach Resort in Miami Beach. Ross, the chairman of New York-based related companies, announced the deal in the press release without disclosing the price. Duval Associates, managed by Belinda Morello, Miami Beach, was a seller of the former hotel on 3.8 acres. 3.8 acres. The building was built in 1957, 540 room, closed in 2007 following an electrical fire and never reopened. It was famous in its heyday. There you go. In its heyday. For showcasing stars such as Frank Sinatra, Tom Jones, Sammy Davis Jr. I believe they're all dead now. Joan Rivers and Jerry Lewis even hosted Beatles show in 1964. The hotel is currently in the process of demo after Miami Beach officials cited it for numerous code violations related to the deteriorating condition of the building. Ross said he plans to redevelop the oceanfront site into a world-class 6-star hotel and luxury residence. Why should we ever keep something so old and dilapidated? You want to keep the outdoor facade that says Duval Hotel. I say scrap it and build a world-class 6-star hotel luxury residence. New York-based architect Frank, how do you say his last name? Gehry has signed on for the project.
Gehry, are you kidding me? You can't even pronounce his last name. What's wrong with you?
That's a huge architect.
Of course he is.
Okay.
You can't even pronounce his last name right.
You don't think that's better than some dilapidated, old-school, back-in-the-day hotel that featured a couple of...
You're sitting here making me sound like Archie Bunker. Let's start with this. We're talking... All I said was, look what they're doing at the Raleigh.
Used to sing back in the day? What's the name for them?
Barbershop Quartet. Let's look at the Raleigh.
Ross is native Miami, bro.
Ross is not native Miami. He's from New York City.
Native of Miami Beach. The project is personal to me, Ross.
The guy can't even manage a football team, yet alone you're telling me about
He's from here, man.
He's not from here. He's from New York.
No, he's not. I don't know.
He's as much as from Miami as you are.
It says native.
You're from Jupiter, right? Are you from Miami?
Palm Beach County, bro.
561 in the house. Yeah, let's go.
No, 407. That was my first.
407 is Orlando, dude.
No, that was my first phone number. 407. Area code.
No, all kidding aside, though. Look,
all kidding aside, good for Stephen Ross. He did a good job for F1, and now let him build world class.
Let him build world class. Listen, we're not going to agree on this. I'm all for it. World class facility, but look at the Raleigh Hotel. They kept
not the Raleigh.
Give you an example. I'm showing you an example. They kept the shell. They kept the facade.
Have you seen the Raleigh Hotel lately?
Yeah, do it by
it. It's boarded up, and it's ridiculously.
Listen. We worked on that. They're going to do. It's going to be beautiful.
Yeah. What are they doing? They want to build condos.
No, well, Class A.
They want to build condos.
Class A. Listen, 6-star condos. All right. Look,
it's been in shambles for years. They're probably doing the same thing that DeVille did. They're probably trying to get code violations, like so just like the DeVille.
Yeah,
I wouldn't doubt it.
Listen. Look at Ocean Drive.
Why?
You could easily have developed. You could easily knock down all of Ocean Drive and we develop nice high-rise condos, high-rise hotels.
No, there's enough high-rise hotels.
What is Ross going to do?
Yeah, but that's already on the beach for that area. You don't want to, Ocean Drive is.
Point I'm making the historical aspect of it. They kept the look, old school Miami, right?
I don't care about it. I say make new school Miami.
This is coming from the guy that had a farm in Jupiter.
Do you like Brickell now, or you like Brickell? I mean, do you like Brickell City Center now, or did you like it 10 years ago?
That was a tennis court center 10 years ago. What are you talking about?
Isn't it better now?
No.
Isn't it better now? Isn't it better that you went to that hotel and had drinks on that bar that had a beautiful view, and then you went down a couple floors?
You're missing the point,
and ate a beautiful
dude.
dinner?
There was no building there. There was no building in Brickell City Center. It was a damn tennis court.
That was one big tennis court then.
It was a tennis court facility.
It was not.
Yes.
The whole thing was not a tennis court.
I'm talking about buildings that already exist.
No one even remembers.
That were built in the 40s, 30s, 40s, and 50s.
Mana's trying to keep downtown looking like downtown.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, let's keep it looking like downtown. Stuff that was built in the 70s during the Coke era, 70s and 80s.
There you go. There you go.
It doesn't have any looks.
Maybe we should keep Wynwood just industrial.
Dude.
See?
Why you're not even?
Because
you're
for
not even
development.
comparing.
I'm for development.
I'm for it
pro
too.
development.
But I'm also pro.
I'm
if you got
pro-humans.
something that's historic looking,
Take a picture,
that's beautiful.
write a book, put it in a movie. We can go back into the archives and watch it.
Jesus
How often do you
Christ.
get in your Cadillac DeVille with
This
the top?
isn't Pimp My Ride,
How
dude.
long do you get in your,
This isn't
in your
Pimp My
car
Ride.
and put the top
No.
down and go, baby, let's go look at Miami's historical places.
Listen.
When's the last time you did that? Never?
Never.
Oh, okay then. See,
I'm all
you're
for-
the same person that's on that historical preservation board who fights for these these buildings and can't afford to even buy the building.
Listen.
They're fighting against a billionaire.
They gotta look.
That guy didn't even shake. He was like, yeah, whatever.
That guy should just do a Pimp My Ride to the building. Make it look, keep the facade, keep the historical aspect of it. You can still have your Class 6 facility, put your little dolphin emblem on there, maybe a little race car Formula 1, and it'll still be nice, all right? So I'm all for keeping at least some character into this. Not this, let me just tear it down. Well, what for? Why?
Class A.
You can still make it Class A and keep it classy. Keep it like, give it some character, give it something. What are you going to get in return? Some Frank Gehring? I mean, he's a top architect, but what is he going to do? He's going to probably.
This Frank Gehry guy.
He's probably going to just put some, I don't know.
Come on, man.
Typical.
It's going to be great.
Whatever, dude. You're not going to change my mind.
All right, so go live in your, South Florida.
Dude, but what Miami
Your
lacking?
South Florida.
You're not getting. You're
flat
thinking
roof, one story.
You're thinking I
house.
want to keep it the same. That's not what I'm saying.
like back in the day.
You can keep the exterior look. Give it a classy, typical old school Miami character. Give it some look to it, and keep the inside your Class 6, whatever the hell he wants to call it, to make it, bump up the price, and it'll still be nice, top of the line. And you'll go. I'll go.
Nope. I want new.
Do you want new?
Yeah, man. It brings.
Yeah.
Look,
So what are you saying?
These guys also want new. In this article
He
says
wants money.
South Florida's rapper residential market is super dope fire. Sean P.D. Combs, DJ Khaled, Trippie Redd, Lil Wayne, Lil Pump, Rick Ross, Kodak Black dropped a lot of stacks to buy luxury homes in Miami Beach, Coral Springs, and Southwest ranches. They're not buying any redone, repositioned house. These guys are putting down real money. South Florida residential market. For the rappers, it's banging, yo. In the past 4 years, famous hip-hop stars have dropped serious loot buying luxury homes on Miami-Dade County's waterfront in the western fringes of Broward County, from Sean P. Combs doubling down on his mansion in Miami Beach's Star Island, to Rick Ross and Trippie Redd acquiring multi-million-dollar cribs in Southwest ranches. Rappers are vying against hedge fund managers, tech bros, other celebrities for luxury homes in South Florida's seller market. P. Diddy, founder of the Bad Boy Entertainment, led the Rat Pack with a $35 million purchase of Gloria and Emilio Stefan's guest house on Miami Beach, Star Island in September. Entities with the ties, Combs Enterprises, P. Diddy's investment holding company, TriStar Sports Entertainment, bought the nearly 8,000 square foot estate at One Star Island Drive. 6-bedroom, 8.5 bathroom house immediately adjacent to the 19,000 square foot. Wow. I mean, these guys are putting down. DJ Khaled bought a Miami Beach waterfront 4 years ago. He spent $21.7 million. Proximity to nightlife, action, luxury shopping destinations are among the reasons some hip-hop personalities like Khaled gravitate to Miami Beach. They like to be close to Bal Harbor so they can do their fancy purchases, and they like to be around the design district because it's basically Bal Harbor, but inland. Oh, they like big and modern. Lil Wayne dropped $16.7 million in 2018. And we got Lil Pump, real name Garcia, is a Miami native whose hits include Gucci Gang, Butterfly Doors, and Racks on Racks. He put down a $4.6 million for 3-story house, 5 bedroom, 7 bath. And also Kodak Black is the new guy from Broward County. Just did some time. Another hip hop artist to score Trump presidential pardon. You can tell Badell about that. Kodak Black, real name Bill Capri, whose hit songs include ZZ, Transportin', Tunnel Vision, bought a large lot in a 105 home gated community where each section ends in a cul-de-sac. According to Zillow listing, the property features a screen porch with an outdoor kitchen, 45-foot long heated pool with a hot tub, the master bedroom suite on the second floor, and fireplace. Very nice place. He threw down $3.5 million. No, that was Rick Ross. How much did so that's in the same area that Dwayne The Rock Johnson has a home. That's Southwest Branches in Broward. Rick Ross, Miami native who founded Maybach Music Group, who owns several Wingstop restaurants, paid $3.5 million last year for an 8,000 square foot mansion. NBA player's house. Trippie Redd, real name Michael Lamar White II, is a rising hip hop star who also drawn to Southwest Ranches. This month, Trippie Redd bought a 2-story, 18,000 square foot mansion, $7.5 million. Mm-hmm. That's a nice one.
That's a nice house.
Yeah. As more rappers find their way to South Florida, luxury home developers should consider building houses equipped with recording studios. I agree. Rudolph said if they have a studio in their home, it doesn't matter where they live, she said. That might make it more intriguing for artists looking for homes in South Florida if there wasn't an inventory drought already.
Dude, look at Southwest Ranches prices compared to Miami Beach. You get more bang for your buck out there because you got the big land, big parcels.
Where is that, I-75?
Oh, I call that suburbia
Weston?
hell. You're all the way.
Is it Weston?
It's east of Weston, off of just north of Griffin Road, near Davie.
Yeah,
just east of 95.
Far. Not floor area ratio.
But you know what? The trippy guy can afford a helicopter to fly him wherever he needs to go. So
I don't think.
You got a helicopter pad. You can do that on 2.3 acres.
I don't think they're doing that though. Well, we got the 10-year Treasury, Wall Street Journal, 2.738. It reached at 3% at one point, but it's hovering around 2.7, 2.8 all week. For today, Wednesday, May 25th, 2022, the average rate for a 30-year fixed mortgage is 5.28, a decrease of 12 basis points from a week ago. If you're looking to refinance your current loan, the national average 30-year refinance rate is 5.24, down 10 basis points since the same time last week. Meanwhile, the national 15-year fixed refinance is 4.56, a decrease of 16 basis points since the same time last week. I'm glad that I locked in my rate.
I'm glad I bought my house
last week after seeing all this decrease 10 to 16 basis points this week. That's lovely.
I'm just glad I bought my house a year ago.
Yeah, I bought my house a year ago also. Well,
yeah, but
but I didn't have the fortunate benefit of actually getting financing a year ago. We got another one.
I'll put my glasses on.
I bring this up because I'm working with retail right now. Best Buy Home Goods anchored shopping center sells for $37 million. This is in Coral Springs. Shopping center anchored by Best Buy and Home Goods. $37.4 million, Coral Springs. I brought this up because I liked what it said, where it says, as the economy has bounced back from the COVID-19 pandemic, with retail rents on the rise, more real estate firms are willing to invest in shopping centers, which is interesting, right? So we all know that multifamily is the number one investor's, choice. And then we had red hot industrial coming up behind it, right? So to hear, and then retail was the one that, took the bite for COVID.
Yeah, absolutely. It did. Except and I remember during COVID, the bite was grocery anchored. If you were grocery anchored, the consensus was you were fine. Or you were doing okay.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. There was, and when we first came out of the pandemic, a lot of the stuff we were seeing was grocery anchored. And even then, talking to local brokers, as long as you were grocery anchored, you were okay. Why? Even during the pandemic, grocery stores were open. Right? Mm-hmm. When things started slowly opening up, people would go to the grocery store, go right next door, get whatever you need. Why? During the pandemic, even with getting out of the pandemic, people didn't want to drive around to different places. So it made sense that grocery anchored stores were going to do better. What's interesting about this article, this is not a grocery anchor space.
But it's goods.
It's a goods, but it's not. These are goods that.
Good point.
Yeah, they're not. I don't know how to describe it. They're not. They're luxury, not a necessity. So it's good to see that. It's good to see you see the Best Buy and the Home Goods selling for that kind of money.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. So I wanted to bring up, and I think I'll put it here, waiting for it to populate. And this is South Florida. So there's 328 million square feet of retail in South Florida, right? Miami-Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach. So it says that inventory is up 0.6% year over year. Under construction, well, that's wrong. I guess just because, let me fix this filter real quick. It said 0, but I know that's wrong, so. And that's just because I didn't click something. But anyways, so we'll let that calculate. I want to see it. Okay, so there's 328 million square foot altogether, Tri-County. Under construction is 4.2 million. That's up 12% year over year. So they're building retail. A lot of that's being built downtown Miami for the whole World Center.
Right, right.
Also, 12-month net absorption, 4.5 million year over year. So we got 4.2 million under construction. Year over year, we absorbed 4.5 million. It's a lot of retail being absorbed.
Yeah.
A lot of retail.
My question is, did they break it down? Like what is retail being absorbed? Because retail can be categorized as QSR. Is it restaurants?
This is straight across.
It doesn't break down all classes. Everything lumped together.
I'm just reading broad. South Florida. This is not just Miami or broad. It's South Florida. It says, but here's the kicker: is vacancy rate for retail South Florida, 3.6%.
Wow,
that's strong.
That's very strong.
Market rent. $35, almost $36 triple net.
Well, you're seeing it. Well, right now you're working on one, and that's not even in the best location per se, considering it's not in a major CBD.
No, I mean Wynwood, they're getting $100,
but you're seeing 25.
And Brickell's getting like that as well.
Right, but you're seeing 20.
We're seeing $25 inline. Coral Springs gets $55 for out parcels.
Correct, but you're seeing $25. But that's my point. You get the 55 and the 25. What does that average out to?
Well, yeah, I mean, out there in Broward, Coral Springs,
Coral Springs,
$19 to $30 range for inline stuff.
That's what I would consider towards the bottom of the range.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's why I just said 19 to 29. This says across all classes, across South Florida, it's almost 36.
I believe it.
So this is, Coral Springs is below the average.
Yeah, it's below. That's the point I'm making it. Because
market
that's
sale price per square foot, $351 per square foot. That's up 8% year over year.
Jesus.
And the market cap rate's at 5.7%. So when we think that, when you read that article, like it sold for $37 million, home goods, not grocery anchored, like you were speaking to. And the reporter said that it's nice to see that investors are now indulging into
Right.
retail as well, not just multifamily or industrial, but back to retail. We know offices came on a lot faster, especially in South Florida with the migration and population increase
Yeah, it
in
did.
the tech,
It did.
in the hedge funds down here. But now we're seeing, retail following up suit and seeing these numbers where it's all positive across the board in South Florida. 9% rental increase year over year, 8% market square foot increase year over year. I mean, these are great numbers. It seems weird. I just listen to myself saying these are great numbers, and then go back to how we started this conversation with inflation and what's going on, and with the stock market crashing, and what I guarantee you companies are about to start unloading employees to help with their cost and help with the margins because they didn't meet the analysts' predictions. How that affects all this, because less people working, less people spending, that definitely hits retail on the head.
Of course, but then in this particular location, you have Home Goods. Have you been to Home Goods? I know Home Goods. I won't buy my house. My wife likes going to Home Goods. Home Goods is you can buy nice product for the discounted price. So you're going to have that driving factor into these locations as well. And we're back to people are now shopping for the best deals. Why? Because it's no longer the days of having that additional, what the word I'm looking, disposable income.
Right.
The disposable income goes away.
Yeah,
People tend to start saving and then go into more of these Home Goods type locations where you rather walk into a Home Goods and pay a little bit less for a product that you can probably buy in an Amazon or another outlet for slightly a little bit more, but you have it there in front of you. It's there. So I think that the good driver for this is the actual Home Goods stores, but that's what they are. Home Goods is like a subsidiary of Marshall's. Marshall's, if you recall, Marshall's is a store where you will go and buy clothing at a discounted price, and the name brand clothing that they will purchase from wherever they buy them from. But as you start seeing the disposable income decrease, you're going to start seeing more and more of these Home Good locations or the retail where they're located be more in demand.
Oh, very good analysis there, Ralph Pena. Myself, I'm headed over to Marshall's to try to find my wife a Gucci purse. Yeah. With that being said, that was our first episode of Let's Talk Real Estate.
Let's go for it.
We'll see you next week.
All right.